Big news, boys. Big news. Hey guys, it's Luke here and welcome back to another video. Wasn't expecting to make a video on this, at least for a while, but in the last couple of hours, at least in the time of me recording this video, some very interesting videos have been uploaded online of, well, what is the finished product of the Mark 8 Golf R. Now, we all know by now my obsession and my connection with Golf Rs, Golf GTIs, that kind of thing. I fairly recently covered like a virtual first look of the Mark 8 Golf GTI, which had just been revealed. And of course, I used to own a Mark 7.5 Golf R. Before we get into the video, don't laugh. This was a present which was given to me quite a few, well, actually, probably about a year ago now. I've never worn it because, well, especially now I don't own a Golf R, or at least I don't for the time being. And yeah, I thought, oh, why not? Let's just wear it for this video. But anyway, let's get stuck in because there's a lot to tell you guys and a lot to speak about this, what looks to be a pretty awesome looking Mark 8 Golf R. So getting straight into things then, in short, what looks to be a finished prototype, kind of almost production spec Mark 8 Golf R has been seen testing around the Nurburgring in Germany. A lot of things to get from the photos, which I'll be putting on the screen now. Number one, it looks to be that, like I said, this is virtually what the car is going to look like. I think personally it looks incredible. Certain aspects of the car, which I think are definite highlights, which I'll get onto fairly shortly. And the second thing is, well, the fact that the testing looks to be near completion. Of course, if you look closely at the photos, you see the car is all kitted out as you'd expect in the testing prototype kind of campaign with a roll cage, obviously lots of tech and data logging equipment inside the car. But yeah, this is pretty exciting. Now I'll get on to the subject or the title of the video a little bit later on, but for those of you who don't really know much about what the Mark 8 Golf R is scheduled to be or meant to be, then quick rundown for you. So it has been leaked in, I believe, a slideshow on some sort of event or something, nothing that I've personally witnessed, I've just seen it online, about some potential power and technical specs of the car. We're expecting to see a fairly familiar 2-litre 4-cylinder EA-AAA engine. The EA-AAA is a very renowned engine, has featured in the Mark 7 and the Mark 7.5, and also the Mark 8 Golf GTI as well, so it was really a no-brainer that it was going to feature in the new R. Of course, going alongside that, it's going to be powered to a Haldex 4-wheel drive system and also a 7-speed dual-clutch DSG. Again, fairly recognisable, I imagine, with some tweaks and upgrades, especially with the Haldex, which we'll get onto very shortly because there's some potential very exciting news about that. Scheduled to be 330 brakes stock, which is a fair increase from the 7.5, around 30 brake, give or take, which is, like I said, a decent upgrade. And of course, a 2-litre 4-cylinder. We all know how tunable those engines are. So yeah, that's a decent power stat. Obviously, from the all-wheel drive system as well, it's not going to be slow at all. And to be fair, by the looks of the photos, you can see that the guy who's driving it is going for it a bit, which is always nice to see. However, going back to the Haldex system. Now, I'm going to have to revert back to my notes because there's some big words here, not going to lie. But basically, the Haldex system is rumoured to enable full variable control, which means that it can send power to either or of the axles at any time, so the front or the rear. I'm not sure if we can send 100% of the power to the rear wheels, but the fact that it is fully variable is quite exciting. Now, of course, combined with, I quote, the VW XDS Plus electronic differential locks and a stability control system, which rumour has it will enable drift mode. Now, I did make a video on the Mark 8 Golf R a fair few months ago, actually when I owned my 7.5, and I did speak about there being rumours of a drift mode, like the new A45S and also the Focus RS, to name a few. But to have drift mode, or at least rumours to have drift mode, that is pretty incredible indeed. Once again, I will say this has not been confirmed at all, it's just a rumour, but we can hope and pray, boys. We can hope and pray. One thing which has been revealed, at least from what I've seen online, I've basically been scouring Autocar, Piston Heads and Auto Express for all of this info. And so I'm basically just collecting all this data together and bringing it to you in this video. However, what I did notice, and I'm going back to my notes very quickly as well, is it's only going to be available in DSG. Now, basically, in short, the reason for that is because there was very low demand for manual in the previous gen, which, although I can understand because the majority of Golf Rs, like what mine was, were DSG, it is going to be a little bit sad to not have a manual option. Of course, the Mark 8 GTI is available in manual, as well as the DSG as well. So for those manual lovers, you can still opt for the GTI if you really want to have a manual car in your life. Of course, it's remaining all-wheel drive like the previous generation Golf R as well, with the Haldex system, an awesome system, which I can definitely vouch for. Anyway, going on to some of the things which we can get from the pictures of the car. Of course, being a Golf R, it's got to have those quad exhaust tips. They look very similar to the previous generation, but still, the fact there's 4 of them, that's good. Some pretty aggressive bumpers here and there. You'll notice the front and rear bumpers seem very, very aggressive. The arches seem notoriously wide as well. But look at the flared side skirts on this thing. Now, it's only the certain angle where you can really see that. That is something which we haven't seen on any other photos that we've seen of the car testing. Of course, it did some winter weather testing where it had no wing at all. It had the really basic wheels and hardly any VW badges anyway, but of course we all knew that it was the Golf R. Now, going on to the lip spoiler, which I mentioned just a second ago, that looks flipping awesome. I think I'm going to have a little look at some of the photos which I've got on my laptop here. I think for me, that is the highlight of this car. I love how you got that central, almost central mounting point. So it's basically like well, very similar to the spoiler that I had on my car. But to have that from factory, looking at it side on, I think it looks awesome. The Golfs are very laid back kind of cars, but to have a wing that big, well, is it a wing or is it just I don't know. Well, to have that on the back from standard is a good sign, a very good sign indeed. For me, the one thing about the Mark 8 in general, be it the GTI or the R, the one thing which I really wasn't too keen on was the rear end. And I think that spoiler fixes that dramatically. The rear end, like I mentioned in the GTI video fairly recently, does seem quite boxy. The lights seem quite high up and there's a big gap between that and where the number plate sits. But that wing just makes it all come together, along with the slightly more aggressive R-style rear diffuser with the vertical slats. Looks to be in gloss black as well, which is a good sign, because in the GTI we had some kind of, dare I say it, tacky looking plastic bits, but the side skirts, rear diffuser, and I believe some bits on the front as well, seem to be in gloss black, which is a big thumbs up from me. From the front end, like the GTI, I think it looks really quite aggressive. We've got those diagonal body color sections which really accentuate those air intakes right at the bottom, but also we do have those LED lights up front, along with the light bar, which, although you can't see it on the photos from the track, you can see it on the winter photos. So I wasn't sure whether that would be carried across from the GTI, but obviously it does, which again makes it look pretty aggressive from the front. Looking at the photos, there isn't really much of a front lip spoiler or a splitter. Maybe that central bit, kind of just underneath the number plate, maybe if that was in gloss black as well, that would perhaps make it look a little bit better, but no real hefty front splitter on the front that we can see, at least for the time being. Going back to the sides, of course, moving on from those side skirts, which I think look really, really cool. We have the Pretorias, which are being used on this. I would have thought there would be a new design of wheel, but obviously this is still in prototype form. They don't want to give away everything for now, so they're just using the Pretorias. But behind those, I just want to make you aware of the brakes, especially on the front. They look huge. Now, although you can't really see it on the photos of it going around the track, if I just cast back to the winter photos, look at the size of the front discs on this thing. Of course, we have the blue painted calipers, which you can see the updated R logo on them. You may remember I'm not really a big fan of the new updated R logo. I preferred the old one, if I'm being honest, but I can live with it. I'll probably end up liking it when I see the real car, which I will say is rumoured to release, or debut, sorry, at this year's Goodwood Festival of Speed, which has been postponed back to September. Hopefully we'll be seeing it before then, but if not, I'll be at Goodwood anyway, so hopefully I will see it there. But yeah, all in all, I think this car looks flipping good. Now, there was a lot of uncertainty with the styling of the Mark 8 in general. I mean, the standard Golf doesn't look anything, if I'm being honest. And there were some people who weren't really keen on the GTI who watched my video, and I can see where they're coming from. There are certain aspects of it, especially in the press photos, which don't look right, especially the rear end, which I think has been fixed with this lip spoiler, wing, whatever you want to call it. But I think in general, this car looks really, really good. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the wheels, whether you can spec the Pretorias, or whether there is a completely new range of wheel options. I think wheels, for me, are a big part of the looks of a car. They can really make a car, or they can really make it look awful. I think it suits the Pretorias, personally. But yeah, I think all in all, really, really good looking car. Now, before we start going on and speaking about whether I will be getting one, whether I've ordered one or not, the Golf R Plus, there is still rumours of that being a thing. We don't know if it's going to be revealed at all, whether it's going to be something later this year or into 2021. If it is going to be a thing, we're looking at around 400 brake, which is very, very appealing. But like I said, we don't know about that, whether it's going to be a thing, whether they really want to step on the toes of the RS3. Of course, VW Audi Group, it's kind of up against themselves, really, if they were to do that. But we can hope. That'll be very cool. But anyway, enough of that. That actually turned out to be quite an extensive walk around of the car. Am I buying one? As things stand right now, with everything that's going on, I haven't put an order in for one. I would love to, and if money was no object, then I would be. You never know. If things change, then I might be. But we don't know the price of one of these yet. I imagine between 40 and 50 grand, which is a lot of money. But in short, no, I haven't bought one yet. I will be doing some figures once we find out the pricing of it. And I would really like one. I would genuinely buy one of these. So maybe in the future we will be seeing one on the channel, be it mine or another one. But in short, no, I haven't bought one yet, but I would like to. I'm going to say that. Anyway, I think that's probably going to wrap things up for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know it's been really well, really casual and really straightforward, really. There's really not much I can do at the moment apart from draw at some photos that have been released of new cars online. But yeah, Mark 8 Golf R, here it is. I think it looks awesome, like I said, and hopefully when more info has been revealed, then I will obviously make an updated video. But that's going to wrap things up for today's one. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please make sure you leave a like and make sure you subscribe for all the adventures still to come.